Welcome back to the program. Now, there's a renewed push to get a pending bill that would require AM radio in vehicles now that Congress has completed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So, AM radio serves as a vital role in our nation's emergency infrastructure and as the backbone of the emergency alert system. So, when the power goes out and cell networks are down, the car radio is often the only way for people to get information, sometimes for days at a time. National Religious Broadcasters president Troy Miller says he will head to Capitol Hill this week advocating for lawmakers to pass the legislation I've just discussed. And full disclosure, I'm a member of National Religious Broadcasters. It's one of my favorite organizations. Joining me now to discuss is NRB president and CEO Troy Miller. Troy, welcome back.
Oh, thanks for having me back. It's great to be with you as always.
I love when you join us because there's something that's so important about this. Radio is so ubiquitous to us. We don't even really think about whether or not it's going to be there. It's like the same way that you hit a switch in your house and you expect a light to come on, or you turn on your dishwasher or your washing machine. You just press the button, you expect it to come on. It's only a problem if something doesn't start spinning or if a light doesn't, come up. And usually then it's not a real problem, it's a light bulb. So with radio, Americans just expect to be able to press. I have mine don't even say AM FM in my car. It just says mode. And I press it and I go from my cable that connects my phone to Sirius XM to AM radio to FM radio. And I have it memorized. I don't even have to look at it. I just press it. If I want to hear AM, my stations are preset. I love that convenience. And I can't imagine buying a vehicle and not having all of that at my fingertips.
Yeah, and not having free access to it. We know that the car already has a number of connected services in it. You talked about Sirius XM radio, subscription based service that's for choice. But what we're really fighting for on the AM radio side, and you talked about this in your introduction. First of all, AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system. There are over 70 what we call hardened stations across this country that have enough backup generators and fuel to run for at least a few weeks, if not a few months. They're the primary source for information during all kinds of natural disasters, whether it be hurricanes, fires in California, or the flooding that's going on. And anybody today, and a lot of people still have an AM emergency radio, weather radio in their house, and don't realize that that's an AM radio. So AM radio is vital, but the real issue, Stacy, is who's going to control that content information in the car. The car companies would love to have their connected dash and then sell you a subscription to everything, collect all of your data, and then sell that to advertisers.
Yeah, that's nonsense. And so obviously, I am a host on Sirius XM, but we have a certain demographic that is willing to pay for subscription based services. But when I'm looking for local weather related, or if I'm trying to figure out, I'm driving across the state tonight, I'm gonna head to Kansas City. I want to know what the traffic patterns are looking like. I am not doing that on Sirius. That's national. That's all over the North American continent. I'm going to hit my little button that I mentioned, my mode button, and I'm
Right,
going to get to AM radio or
right.
FM. But sometimes it's AM. Here we have the Mighty Mox KMOX. They provide weather and traffic updates every 15 minutes. And sometimes at the 7 minute interval, if there's a helicopter flying over traffic because there's a big accident, I'm going to know about that. And that's the fastest place for me to get it. Also, you mentioned weather alerts with the kind of extreme weather we've seen, which by the way, is not abnormal. We have about 50 extreme weather events a year in this country. It's whether or not the media wants to make them a national story. With those things happening, I'd like to know, if I want my alert, that actually comes from a siren that's located somewhere here in St. Louis County. But if I want to know about tornado alerts and keep up with it, and I don't have power for a television, we have a little ham radio that we can use to access if there's no power at all. But I just use my phone and I navigate to an AM radio station here locally, usually KMOX, and get live updates on what's going on with tornadoes, if there are tornadoes touching down. It's so important. I know it's like a benefit of living in America where everything's so advanced and we're so used to everything. But then, as you mentioned, the economic pressure for these car companies to try to make a buck off of the sale of our information could impact our access.
Right. And so we look at this. The reason, we've been, of course, we have 120 radio station, AM radio stations that are our members, and it's important for them to be able to stay on the air. There are 80 million people that still listen to AM radio. That's a lot of people across America. So it'd be hard pressed to say, oh, technology's moving on, technology's moved past AM radio. 80 million people is not technology moving on, because most rural people depend on it, as you said, for weather reports, farm reports. It really, AM radio is still the backbone of informational radio. The top genres, the top programming on AM radio is conservative talk, it's information programming, it's news, it's sports, it's Christian talk and teach, and it's also the home for a large amount of second language radio. So Spanish radio and Korean radio and Arabic radio are all on the AM dial because it's easier for them to reach a bigger, broader audience out there. So look, we're not about stopping advancements in technology. We're all about that, but we just think that people should have a choice, and they should continue to have a choice for free broadcasting, as well as doing Sirius XM or anything else they want to subscribe to.
Yeah, and so I what I'm hearing from you is let's add, not subtract, right? So
Right.
you add in any of these new services, like when these different stations added Arabic and Spanish and all the other languages, I didn't notice because I don't speak those, but the people who wanted access to that were able to get it. And so
Right.
it's additional options. And it becomes a little more segmented, a little more niche, but at the end of the day, you mentioned with the rural parts of our country, we have multiple tens of millions of people who are rural in America, and we
Mhm.
need them to have access to these services because they're the ones who provide our food. They're the ones,
That's
there's
right.
a lot going on out there. Most major factories, if they're big, huge factories, they're rural. We noticed that we were, of course, driving across Missouri, and I saw the cargo plant. And I thought to myself, how far away? The only thing out here is the cargo plant, some rural towns that are tiny, and a huge prison system that's out there. It's
Right.
like, you drive by the prison system, and then you can like count to 10, and then there's the cargo plant. And you're driving by the cargo plant for a full 5 minutes. Like that's how big it
Right.
is. It just keeps going on and on and on. So a lot of companies use the rural area to do that. I love NRB at NRB on X. And Troy Miller, you're the best. Thank you so much for joining to keep us up to date.
Well, thank you for having me and talking about this important issue.
Good to have you, and we'll talk again soon. Coming up next, we take a look at Gavin Newsom's ever evolving makeover as Democrats continue to react to New York City's developing mayoral contest. Stay with us.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing, covered when you got a plan through CarShield. Next, you probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2. Plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3. When you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your covered repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-811-4564. 800 811 4564.